tornado warning is through the northern part of the county. Splunge area at 6:04. You need to be in your safe spot there. Simpson Fork there at 6:06. Gatman 6:09. Pine Springs 6:14. Celigent 6:17. Vernon, Alabama there at 6:23. Beaverton there at 6:25 as this storm continues to track across the area. We've already seen some reports of hail, wind damage with this whole line of storms since the overnight period. So needing to make sure you are staying as safe as possible when you do fall under, especially a tornado warning, but even in some of these severe thunderstorm warnings, we've had some reports of some large hail. But right now the time is just shy of 6 o'clock. I'm meteorologist Chelsea Simmons alongside now Chief Meteorologist Matt Lobhon. And we are tracking a tornado warned storm through Monroe County. And that's going to be through northern parts of Monroe County right now, past Amory, just past Smithville. I'm zooming in. Farm area, you need to be in that safe location. And looking at that storm, it doesn't look as structured as it did just even a few moments ago. But we are, yes, you can do it. But we are closer towards the radar site there in Greenwood Springs, so that could be impacting with that as well. But we're also still tracking the southern edge of these storms. That's really just moving into Hamilton right now. A lot of that heavier rainfall, wind, lightning, thunder, and some of that thunder could even rattle the windows in your home. We've heard some of that here at the station this morning. It has been very loud. Looking at the storm rotation with this particular edge of the thunderstorm, looks like some broad rotation through the southern end of the storm, but it's really not really lining up too greatly with what looks like on precipitation mode. So it looks like they're just north of where it is Hamilton, but in the Hamilton area, looks like we have some broad rotation within that section of the storm. Now, if you're in the northern part of Monroe County, you're under a tornado warning because of that radar detected rotation within that storm. And it did look like it was a little bit stronger a few scans ago. Looking on storm rotation there on radar, you can see those visible notches there within that storm. That northern one right there, you can just see how it's kicking just a little bit more. And you can't quite see it as much there on the storm rotation now. As we get closer to that radar site, that does make everything a little bit more fuzzy looking on radar. But we are still tracking a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings, even down through the Golden Triangle region. West Point, we were looking at that camera just about 20 minutes ago, and that was not some easy rain to drive in. So visibility lower, a lot of that heavier rain, wind. You do not want to be out and about in these storms. But also we're still tracking this storm down closer towards the Golden Triangle region. It's going to be moving into Columbus here soon, that Columbus Air Force Base at 6:03, closer towards Lion Hills there at 6:09, the golf course there, Steens area at 6:14, as it continues to track across places in Lowndes County. Now, the National Weather Service in Memphis still has that tornado warning in Monroe County ongoing, and they still have that through 6:30, so another 28 minutes or so with that storm pushing across. Well, we have a whole line of thunderstorms from Monroe County down through the Golden Triangle region, down towards Louisville, that are under severe thunderstorm warnings right now. Now, yeah, if you can.
So many little arms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many little arms sticking out on this. Like it's a very notchy line. Because like I know the thing that immediately like kicks out to me is like that one near Artesia. And that's just kind of the weird part about this. Like I mean, that right there, near Arcot and Artesia, is an area where it's trying to do something. And you know what? That probably looks every bit as strong as anything in Monroe County has. It's just too far away from the radar site to really pop up with it. So this is just a weird little line where there's just a lot of different spots. So we're just gonna have to track these. And we're going to track too much, and I apologize for that. But I'd rather track too much than shoot too little in this situation. So Browns Ridge Church, we're looking at 6:06 for you. Penn's at 6:06 as well. Mount Olive at about 6:17. Pleasant Ridge Church there at 6:19. But again, heading kind of the east there toward both 45 and 45 alternate. 45 there, really in about the next 3.5, 4 minutes or so. let's kind of walk up this line because every one of those little things sticking out like that has some potential for an enhancement that could cause some wind damage with it as well. We're just the thing about being in Monroe County and they're under a tornado warning, they're just so close to the radar, we could actually see something. It's difficult to see that there outside of the precipitation mode because any interaction is so short-lived. So let's just honestly say, I mean, I can go right there, I can go right there, maybe even up right there. All three of those have some rotation with it, and I would say it's more likely wind damage. But you see, the fact that they're maintained from scan to scan, and then they're still on there, the next one, that's what makes me think that one of these could be a small tornado. Now, we're not likely talking about a strong tornado, but likely talking brief tornadoes at any of those little notches along the line. So this isn't me ignoring Monroe County and the tornado warning, but to say that unfortunately the threat extends beyond there and that specific storm. So you can see there, Ridgeland subdivision about 605, looking towards Steens, 613, Caledonia 609. I'm just going to put up those tornado safety rules because frankly, if I put you in a track in the next couple of moments and I'm not going to have a lot of time to mention a bunch of names, we need you in that tornado safe place. And frankly, it's at the front end of this whole line here. We mentioned this a minute ago. Chelsea was talking about that area there close to the Hamilton area. There's a little notch right there as well. And if you look back, that isn't quite as well placed as the other one that was north of town a little bit ago. And the wind isn't quite as strong, thankfully. But that one that was north of town, right there, at this time, just kind of east of Lackey, near Grub Springs Road, that could potentially be something trying to spin up. Again, probably not strong or long-lived tornadoes, but a potential that they could try to spin something up. What's the speed on this? Double check on that, Chelsea. Are we about 50 miles per hour by this point? 45 to 50? Does look like it definitely has picked up some speed. So I'm still tracking this, I think about 40.
It's still at 40.
40? Okay. Okay, well that's what we got it. So let's go and keep it. So you can see there, New Church is about 617, Bartahatchee Baptist Church over top of you at 607, which is about 1 minute from now. Pleasant Grove Church about 608. I'm just going to keep up those tornado safety rules, walk up the line here. One of those areas of circulation moved right over top of the radar site there. Saw the enhancement of the wind, kind of possibly trying to spin something up. That's probably not a tornado there east of Sipsey Fork, and there's possibility nothing I've shown you is a tornado. But there's just enough notches there that I'd rather put some people under warning or an advisory as opposed to just say, oh, that notch is or that notch isn't, and have guessed wrong. Because any time we talk about these kind of tornadoes, the spins are very brief, less than 5 minutes typically, but you know, can still have 100-mile-per-hour winds with them. So think more wind enhancement as opposed to just straight up tornadoes with these as they move in. So certainly they're looking near Sipsey, Detroit Road. Again, Shiloh Church at 608, Sullivan at 615, next more populated center, Cruz at about 620. I know we have some dedicated viewers out there in Cruz. So yeah, watching that for you. And then
The speed to at least 45.
let's go 45. Okay. Go up to 45 on that. Better to give a little extra time because again, radar is at least moments old. And this notch up on the north end here that originally prompted the tornado warning would be the one pretty much right where that arrow is located there. And sometimes it is where this bends back a little more that you have the extra enhancement there. And so that's what I think, again, prompting that tornado warning initially there where the rotation was slightly stronger. And so as we track that one, I will have, I think, a little bit of a northerly angle on this one. Most of these have been more to the east. This one might be more to the northeast. And so you might track that out here. That eventually could end up in Hamilton, Alabama. And so on the wider shot there, 629 if it would make it to Hamilton, Alabama, and Fulton Bridge about 632 for Hamilton, Alabama, and Fulton Bridge at 629. I'll clear that off for a moment. And then we'll go kind of a shorter range track here. We'll kind of fill up that track. You'll notice Liberty Grove Church, 611. That is still about 3 to 4 minutes from now. Looking at Pleasant Site, Free Will Baptist Church by about 614. Fulton Bridge by 626. National Weather Service going ahead, looks like, and allowing that warning to cancel. The reason for that, initially when they issued that warning, you had a stronger couplet. The thing that has me on edge at the moment, to be completely frank, is the fact that you were able to see something because you're just right there next to the radar site in Monroe County. And these little, very pronounced, inlets. This goes back to about 545 there. You've got these very pronounced areas where you can see that circulation. If you look back at the precipitation mode, there are a few notches there, but they're not immediately obvious, but we're really close to the radar here. And so there are things that frankly get missed outside of Monroe County because it's farther away from the radar that you catch up there because of the radar. Now, in saying that, we're still fairly close down here south of Caledonia, so we should still see again those interactions, and we do. It's just not quite as pronounced, and when you can ride along the radar beams, that does make it a little bit more of a challenge on picking out some. I've kind of try a couple of different radar modes there, but I'd still say there's enough there for some wind damage here. This is Columbus, the Air Force Base is on the north side of town, moving towards Steens. So I do think it's worthwhile to treat this one with extra caution because of just kind of the scenario we're in here, where again, brief spin-ups are possible. I do want to bring in our meteorologist, Chelsea Simmons, make sure we're on agreement kind of on that assessment. Is that a reasonable assessment, you think?
Yes, that is.
Okay, so we're going to stick with this for a few minutes here. Despite the fact that the National Weather Service has gone ahead and lifted that tornado warning, I do think it is worth our while to catch some of these little indentations in the line, especially while we see very obvious ones. And so again, Steens we show about 612. Columbus proper, you can pull up a camera down in Columbus. Probably the eastbound on 82. I mean, we should, well, either way, it's probably a wall of wind and kind of difficult to see. That's probably the case, yeah. But while you're on, let's go ahead and check power outages for a minute here. Let's kind of clear this out, back this out for just a moment. Current time is now 6:10. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawton alongside our meteorologist Chelsea Simmons. National Weather Service now seeing what we were just seeing and issuing a tornado warning for near the Steens area in Caledonia there in northern Lowndes County. All these little indentations, safe rather than sorry, what they're going for there. And so they're trying to ensure that just in case that we are aware that this could potentially be a tornado, and so they're trying to, essentially make sure that they know whether or not that is the case. So they would rather issue a tornado warning as opposed to not. So again, tornado safety rules. I'm going to kind of angle this a little more so we can get a few more spots on there. But if you live in Steens, Caledonia, we need to be in that tornado safe place. Listen, I understand we're probably not running out in this in either case. We're down to, if this were to do something, now's the time. It's basically doing it. So we're sheltering in place as best as we can. I have not been able to confirm on any of these circulations tornado debris. Unfortunately, that is something that happens after the fact, and so that's not something that has a whole lot of preparation value associated with it there. But there's just a couple of spots in this line that are just suspect enough that the National Weather Service in Jackson choosing to extend a tornado warning because of that. So Doppler radar indicates the rotation. Liberty Church, we're watching for you at 6:14. Looking closely again at Open Door Church at 6:21, Prospect Church at 6:16, 6:19, Mount Pleasant Freewell Baptist Church, Antioch Church of Christ at 6:23, Pine Grove Church at 6:25, Tycookee there, the next more populated area at about 6:27. Again, that is in Lamar County. Lamar County not officially under a tornado warning at this time, and tracking that southern circulation and really doing nobody any good by showing specific circulations there, because the reality is that it's probably 2 or 3 different places along there, and showing just 2 is probably underdoing it. So I'm going to put on what we call our squall track. So obviously not everybody involved in this is going to see this, but hopefully this will put on our complete list of different things as well right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and look closer at that correlation coefficient. See, we can get confirmation on this here, and I'm going to have to change our color table to one that's more sensitive. Give me a moment to do that. Yeah, perhaps that is what we have there. We might briefly be able to show a tornado debris signature. Let's check this out. Right there where the arrows pointed, pretty much, near Steens Road. And I'm going to go back scan there. Wind matches, precipitation close. You might be able to show the faintest tornado debris signature right there. There is some indication that perhaps it is extending North Ferristines as well. We're waiting on the latest wind scan to come in to confirm that, but potentially we can confirm that we have had a tornado touchdown on this. I'm going to pull off those tornado safety rules for a moment and go back into the wind mode here. Whether we have or haven't, there are just a couple places right along this small portion of the line that there's enough rotation to prompt concern that we could potentially have this actually producing. You can see National Weather Service there in Birmingham extending the tornado warning into Lamar County. So some of those spots we were giving a warning through beyond the warning a moment ago, now under that tornado warning now because of this this portion of this thunderstorm here. So again, I'm going to probably have too many places, outside of this show up, but I'd rather give too many places than not enough. So if you live near Caledonia Gas Turbine Power Station there, the Bethel Church, Malloy, again, Malloy I know is Lamar County. A lot of these locations, most of these locations in Lamar County is basically right at within a couple miles of the state line. We need to be in that tornado safe place, a small windowless room, a room where you can wrap up in blankets, pillows to protect yourself from the potential for flying debris and stay there until we can give you the all clear. We do believe we could potentially have confirmation that this has produced tornado debris. It is a very faint return. I can't say it's a high confidence situation, but at 6:15 in the morning without spotters on the ground, it's as good as confirmation we ever get in this situation. So again, if you live out here, Fernbank at 626, Hyperkey at 628, we need you in that tornado safe place. Millport there about 6:30. This is assuming 45 miles per hour, and these areas of spin continue to be ones that we have to track. Let's go ahead and bring down those tornado safety rules. We got to look back up toward Monroe County, much like when we had the tornado that was a tornado warning from Monroe County. We're looking down Lamar County. We need to make sure that we're not, again, there's not typically a lot of lead time on these. And up here near Detroit, north of Detroit in particular, when I look at the wind mode here, a couple areas where I have the interaction very close, right there, County Road 26. This would be right up here. If these aren't a tornado, these deserve a tornado warning and be treated as such. Near Johnson Bottom Road, up here in County Road 26. This would be Monroe County. This would be Lamar County. This is Marion County, and this is Itawamba County. So this would be National Weather Service, Birmingham's area there. Moving to, I think, a little bit more of a northerly angle on this. As we talked about earlier, that could be heading more toward Hamilton. Let's treat this as though this could potentially be a tornado in the development phase. In fact, we were down there on that other one near Horseshoe Bend. Let's look here. I don't know that I can say for sure that that was a tornado. That's awfully close. We might have briefly had one. And so based on that angle, we're going almost directly east on that. And this is the portion of the storm. I do want to make sure I have Hamilton in this. This is the portion of the storm that we classically would look and you can see how everything's kind of bending back in and around like that, right? And so the indications are there that this could potentially once again be producing a tornado. I do want to go, and I don't know if we can do this where we have weather 2 in the monitor behind her. We'll look at weather 3 on yours to look at some of those power outages real quick so we kind of have a grasp of that for just a moment here. So we'll go to Chelsea over on the monitor shot over there with camera 2 behind her, if possible, to pull that up. Is that possible behind the scenes? Okay. Okay. Let me look here. Yeah, under video. Video's the bottom one in that list there. Okay, yeah. Yeah, weather 3 should work. Yeah, that should work. Okay, and while she is getting that cleaned up, let's look back south on this line. Yes, that's, by the way, right there. Here in Alabama Highway 19, moving toward I-22. How long until we get to I-22? For some folks that might be traveling, it's the time of day people are like, gotta get to work. Not saying I don't get that, but I'm saying we're 7 miles and about 10 minutes away from I-22, crossing there between the Hamilton exits, near the Highway 17 Hamilton exit. An area of circulation could potentially be a tornado in the development phase if it hasn't already produced a tornado. And then these multiple areas down here, including one now northeast of Steens, right there, that's likely potentially damaging Is it a tornado? It could potentially still be a tornado, and it could have already potentially touched down. I put it near Mud Creek Road. Let's get a storm track on that, and then we'll poke and prod it after we have some times for folks there. I'm going to include Kingville in this track. Let's double check the angle once again. Yeah, a little bit more of a, at this instant, hold on. We're going to adjust this back just a little bit more. Next track, next scan should be right about there. So Ebenezer Methodist Church at 622. This is a portion of this thunderstorm where it's not unreasonable that that little lightest blue there could potentially be tornado debris. It's just about in the right spot. So we need to assume as much. Certainly in Steens, I'd like to keep you, depending on where you're at in Steens and your tornado safe place, a little bit longer here. New scan, new position, new look at that debris should be coming in a moment. But I mean, I have a very, very pronounced indentation there. That's where we could still get in that interaction. It's primarily straight line winds with a spin at the front end that could be an enhancement to 90 to 110 miles per hour potentially. That's the kind of brief sort of tornadoes we have. But this little notch has stayed there the last couple of scans. We have another one up just north of that. I mean, if we go to Chelsea, I can still pop up this direction. As long as we can do that camera one shot there, I'll pop up weather 3, or what your weather 2 right there. And so even if we don't have weather 1 on the camera behind, let's go ahead and go and see if we can check on those power outages from Chelsea over there for quick, please.
Okay, so with power outages right now across the state, there are over 12,000 power. Most of that is in the southwest portion of the state.